Anyway, it's something I started a long time ago. Actually, I told my people, if you're ever in need, if you're ever in trouble, put your last name first. A lot of people in Germany or a lot of people around the world would just think that that's what you do. You just put your last name first. But and it's true in certain societies. I did do um, left to right reading or whatever, but I don't really know. I mean, it depends. I don't know. Well, well, like I say, a lot of people misconceived a lot of things about a lot of different things. If you didn't understand the system, if you didn't know the system that I had set up, then you wouldn't be able. Then it'd be like reading gibberish. It's something that the Japanese and the Chinese did. You did everything a little bit different. And besides, it helped with other people who really didn't understand foreigners. They really would find a hard time deciphering certain things unless you knew what you're doing, unless you were real. Like Japanese actually read from the bottom up on the page, and like they read like this. It all goes back to the old sticks and everything else like that. When you have sticks and you're writing on sticks, well, you could write across, but it's much easier to just write down because you don't have to skip. Why skip when you can just go to the next and go? Like I said, I knew that. Well, I mean, it goes back to the things. They had a lot of bamboo in Japan, and it goes back to my paper making things. I was making paper, so so Japan or China, which they had a lot of bamboo because we used a lot of bamboo in the construction stuff. Ron Williams might mention some stuff about the old past that he knew, or the old films that he knew, because he watched the films as well as a child. So anyway, so although we did have paper for sale in Japan and China, nice clean sheets of paper, that was very expensive. It was a lot cheaper to just break off a piece of bamboo, especially on the job sites. You would just take some bamboo and you would write on it. And if you knew how we did the pages, you would know that you read down or up, depending. Depends on the job site, really, though. But basically, I forget. I think do read down. I don't know. But some Japanese they would read up, not down. It doesn't really matter. I mean, either you work at the job or you don't. Either you're part of it or you're not. And otherwise, you know. So anyway, a lot of Americans would look at it and be like, "Well, it goes across." It's like, okay, whatever. And they go, oh, yeah, yeah. That doesn't make any sense. It's like until you look at the bamboo, until you know something about bamboo, then, anyway, whatever. Or the pages or whatever. You wouldn't be able to decipher Japanese writing for shit. Like I said, try actually doing something and actually being real and not just killing and stealing. Life goes a lot easier for you if you're actually the builder of stuff and the inventor of stuff. Anyway, though, some Japanese, they read. You can go either way, really. And in fact, sometimes certain. I don't know, it depends on the Japanese, though. I forget if they're dimensions or what. It's something about Japanese. Anyway, I don't really know. Like I said, I just paid the Japanese to do stuff and was leading them, basically. I love Japan. I love you, Japan, China. Mwah. Sorry about what happened. I didn't know. Like I said, I didn't know about what was going on with Japan or China. They're very, very good students and very, very good learning people. They soak up stuff like a sponge. I love you. They did. They do. They're very good Japanese and Chinese people. Anyway, so yeah, so it depends. I mean, I think you go top. I forget. Oh no, that's right. No. That's why. The ink used to run. Maybe I don't know. Something about the ink running or something like that. certain ways the ink won't run if you do it this way. I forget what the deal is, but it has something to do because they had runny ink. So they, yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, you had to write top down or something because the ink would always run because they didn't have the ink technology right yet. Like I said, they were working those little Japanese. I love them. They were working really hard on the ink for me, and I was paying them. So, and we were creating a civilization society. So they were, but the ink wasn't quite right. So it would run sometimes, and then they would have to wipe it. Anyway, ink used to take a long time to dry. So anyway, so they would wipe off the extra with their little rags and stuff like that. I love my Japanese and Chinese. They're great people. Anyway, so yeah. Anyway, though, but anyway, so whenever, well, everyone in Japan or China or Germany would know if you're in trouble, you put your last name first. Anyway, it took people a long time to figure out that that's not the way you normally do it or whatever. But because sometimes they would ask the people, "What's your name?" Williams Robin. And even Robin Williams would say that was actually my audition name because like they shot us up with a bunch of drugs, and then expected us to perform while the black people were like sober as the day is long, and they still couldn't act or they still couldn't perform. And Robin Williams actually did better at performing or whatever, even though he was high because he had some acting or something experience. He had some sense. Robin Williams had some kind of experience, but still. Anyway, I think they sent him back or something like that, and they shot him up with even more drugs or something like that, until he was just drooling, to try and get him to not, whatever. And I was like, no, just hire him. I was like, just hire him. I don't care how he sounds or how he performs. Just hire him. Anyway, there was this point where they thought I was grading by the performance or something like that, and I was like, I don't really care. I mean, he's a Robin. It doesn't matter. He'll get it. Anyway, I hired him. He would say, I got a job. I got the job, no matter what. It's like, yeah, well, you were a Robin. And I remember the name. That's why he got his job. Anyway, he was hired regardless. So, yeah. He just had to show up and put his last name first. He would even say that. He just had to show up and put his last name first. That was it. Yeah. Anyway, it's an old thing. Just like Lucifer Star. Star Lucifer. But, I am the one that... Star. Like the sun. It's actually a star. Anyway, some shit black person renamed it the sun or something like that, or tried to rename it the sun. It's like, no, it's a star. Every day we see the star because I built them. So anyway, that's why my last name. Anyway, some shit black man wanted to create it and say that they were suns or something to help out some other shit black people. It's like, no, that's not a sun, that's a star. Because some other shit people wanted to say that they created stars. Wait a minute. That doesn't make sense. No, you didn't create stars, man. Anyway, and so they said, well, maybe we'll just make it so it's a sun. I created a sun. Yeah, I created a sun. Yeah, like that one. Like the one burning thing in the sky. Yeah. And of course, it's not the same thing as creating a fusion reactor in space, by the way. Not the same. Not at all. I created a star. My last name is Star. Lucifer Star. Also Brain Brown. And you can call it a sun, but two suns shall rule. Two stars shall rule, actually. Fusion reactors in space. I built them. I put 5 fusion reactors around one planet one time. They create particles in space. That's why they're important. Not suns. But whatever. Crazy black man. And one star shall rule. Me. Lucifer star.